Hey, what's up, guys? Node Investor here. I got to talk Litecoin. I'm going to talk some Ethereum, some Dash, some Stellar, Ripple, ripping to the upside. But Litecoin is just being trashed, which is what really prompted this video. So I want to cover all of that. Before I get started, some housekeeping. First off, thank you to all of the subscribers, the folks that are following these videos, that are commenting, making suggestions for new videos. I really appreciate the show of support, guys. A couple of you guys have donated some Ethereum. Big thank you to you guys. And I also issued a newsletter. I want to cover that real quick. If you're not getting the newsletter, follow me on the newsletter or follow me on Twitter, because it's hard sometimes to make these videos when things are getting crazy and fast, and sometimes the newsletter or a quick tweet is the fastest way to get an update from me. If you don't know where to get that, nodeinvestor.com, go to the homepage or the commentary page. There'll be a quick email sign up, and you'll get the news blasts when I send them out. It's probably a couple times a week tops. All right, let's get to it. Take a quick look at the market. Bitcoin sitting just under $1,600, pulling back a little bit here. Ethereum, super strong. Going to cover Ethereum, sitting at $90. Dash, I've been watching Dash. Looks like it wants to move up, but not quite doing it yet. $85 Dash. Litecoin, $23, down 12% today, just being trashed after it broke this head and shoulders pattern. But I got to tell you guys, right before I made this video, I was watching it. It was spiking down low to $21. I couldn't help but pick up some Litecoin at that price. I'm just full disclosure. Monero, $26. Ripple, 30 cents, up a whopping 28% today. Ethereum Classic, $6.17. Pivx, big slide in Pivx. Will it break that dollar threshold? We'll see. It's not showing very good strength right now. Zcash sitting tight at around $91. Factum down just a smidge, $8.45. Nem pulling back a little bit, just under 11 cents here. Nothing huge, but we'll look at the charts. And lumens, Stellar lumens. So two symbols on Stellar. If you're on Poloniex, it's STR. For the rest of the world, it's XLM. But almost at 5 cents now. So Stellar lumens looking good. So let's take a look at the charts. Let's start with some Litecoins. I'm going to hop over to Poloniex here. Poloniex on the USDT. Litecoin right now is trading at 25.04. Pulling back a little bit here. I sent out a note today updating you guys on Litecoin, and I want to show that to you. Let me show you the head and shoulders pattern that I was looking at that did not look good, looked very bearish, and I was pointing that out to a few people here. Let's zoom in a little bit. So on the 4-hour chart, it's not a huge head and shoulder pattern like you would see on a daily chart, which is a good thing, but on an intermediate term, it was forming earlier today, and you could basically see where it was coming up here. This first leg up on the right, on the left side here, was the first shoulder, dipped down to this $24 mark, popped up going into SegWit, pulled back just above that $25 mark, popped up, and this is where I started to worry, because it stalled right around 31, which coincides with this other area down here, and then it just started to pull back and basically created what they call a neckline going across this area here. And I'll draw the neckline for you guys, but this area here essentially is the neckline on that head and shoulder pattern. And I was watching that closely, and then it started to break, and so I've been keeping an eye on it. And then just before the start of this video, big spike low, took it down all the way to about $22 on Poloniex. I think on Coinbase it was down to $21, $20.97 or so. So it's took a pretty big fall today on Coinbase. But here's the thing to look at. Look at this volume. There was a lot of buyers showing up at that $21 mark. So Can it fall further? Yes, it could, but maybe that was the panic selling, the spike low I was expecting that I mentioned earlier today. I took a little bit here at that point, so we'll see if that holds. But $21, $22 is pretty good. It was very short-lived. They popped it right back up. So it's sitting at around $24.50 on Coinbase. But it's going to need to get above that neckline if this thing's going to have some legs to move up. If not, that may have been the intermediate low, and we'll see Litecoin bounce around here for a little bit. Probably best case scenario. So keep an eye on Litecoin. If you wanted to get in, or if you're looking at it, I would take a serious look at this low $20 range. I think longer term still looks good, but anything can happen. If it really breaks below this $20, $19, $20 mark, that will be very bearish for Litecoin. Looks like a little bit overdone right now on the sell side, so it's probably going to bounce is my guess, but that's no guarantee. It'll probably bounce into these what was previously support, now resistance around $26. It's going to have to test that a few times before it goes higher. Let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum's looking pretty good here. I'm really liking Ethereum. It's showing a lot of strength relative to Bitcoin and Litecoin. Certainly not relative to Ripple, but we'll talk Ripple in a minute. But Ethereum, look how tight it's been over these last couple of days. I mean, it had a little bit of sell-off here with everything else, but it bounced right back and has just been sitting real tight compared to the other ones. And so I'm really liking Ethereum here. It popped up today on some volume, pulled back a little bit, but it's just really respecting this shorter term moving average. Looks like it wants to go higher. So keep an eye on Ethereum, guys. A solid breaker on this $95 mark, 95, 97 range. And we're going to see another leg up on Ethereum. So best case, it's building a new base to launch. It's looking real similar to the base that I saw, guys, way back here in the $50 mark. This one was edging up higher, but it's looking very similar to that. So I would keep an eye on Ethereum. Ethereum's looking really strong here. Let's take a look at Ripple. Probably nothing to do now. Ripple is moved up. Could it go higher? Absolutely. But it's a little bit out of range here. Probably let it pull back a little bit. But so you can see this pennant that I drew for you guys. This was on the top 10 review newsletter I sent out, I want to say about a week ago or whenever this was. And I said, we're at a juncture with Ripple. It's going to go higher. It's going to do it soon. And it just kind of quietly started to go up and confirmed the move a couple days back or earlier today. Big pop up and continues higher. Ripple's super strong. One thing to note is, some big volume showing up here. It's selling a little bit, but I think that's just profit taking. Ripple long term, just solid right now. There's really nothing bearish about Ripple. I mean, it's just on a strong trajectory up. After this little pennant flag that rested, it's just taken off. So if you wanted it on Ripple, that was probably the best place to do it. Downside risk was pretty low here. So I hope you guys were following along on that recommendation, noting that Ripple there. I want to talk Stellar. So Stellar, depending on what you're looking at. So on Poloniex, it's STR. If you're looking at CoinMarketCap or some of the others, it's XLM for lumens. So Stellar is a platform, lumens are the tokens, but we'll just call it Stellar for now. And so I've been watching Stellar after this big run up it had early May, pulled back a little bit. Look at where it hit, right to that moving average, and then big volume pop. Has since just been sitting real tight, and today some volumes moving back in. I think Stellar's about to launch here, and if it doesn't do it very soon, that's not going to be a good sign, but I'm thinking Stellar wants to start edging out here. A lot of it is probably just spillover sympathy from the excitement around Ripple. But longer term, that's still up for debate whether Stellar's a viable long-term blockchain product. But near term, this chart is just looking very solid, very bullish. I like the quiet pullback here, this base it's forming. So Stellar's probably near the top of my list. I think Ethereum's probably at the top of my list right now. Stellar's very close. Let's take a look at NEM. I'm going to show NEM on the BTC chart if I can find it here. NEM's right here. NEM was looking really solid. Popped her above this $67 mark, which I was looking at. Had to move up, but then just here recently, some big volume pullback here. It's gonna need to get back above this. Let's call it 6,800 or so, 6,900, pretty quickly here if this uptrend's gonna resume. It's still looking pretty solid here, but I don't like to see this little pullback. If this doesn't hold, you're going to probably see a sharp leg down if it breaks below this 5,900 or so. All around, I think NEM is pretty solid here. We'll probably overtake Litecoin on the market cap total place. Litecoin's number 4 right now, or yeah, it's number 4 right now. So NEM will probably overcome that, is my guess, if we can have a leg up here. So I think on the USD, NEM's sitting at around 11-12 cents right now. So keep an eye on NEM. Let's look at Bitcoin. You can't talk cryptos without looking at Bitcoin. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. So this is Bitcoin on the Bitstamp. You had the top here, pulling back, found a nice little support area around 1,600, bouncing up, hit resistance at the $1,800 mark. So here's the thing. We're pulling back now. The question is, will this low hold? If it doesn't and we make another lower low, next stop is probably 1,500, but that will not be a good sign longer or intermediate term. Longer term, it's Bitcoin's fine, but intermediate term, if we make another lower low, that's going to be a little bit of a double top forming here, and it may start downtrend. I think Bitcoin is just kind of consolidating here, so it'd be nice if it just kind of build a base between this $1,600, $1,800 mark and bounced around a little bit. As I noted earlier, you know, when you see Bitcoin go down $100, it used to be a big deal, right? When Bitcoin was $600, that's a lot of percentage, $100 down. At $1,800, $1,700, Bitcoin goes down 100. Guys, it's not really that big of a deal. It's like a $17 stock going to $16. Smaller on a percentage basis. So it makes for nice headlines, but you guys got to keep it relative. You know, it's so... Don't panic. You know, one of the pluses I'm seeing here is so far the big volume has continued to be on the upside. And so whenever there's a big selling, some big volume tends to show up and buy it back up. So overall, pretty good support on Bitcoin. It had a huge run here in the last couple months, so it's completely normal for it to want to pull back, consolidate a little bit. Let's take a look at Dash. So Dash, look at Dash. Okay, so Dash, I was sending out a tweet where this arrow was a couple days ago saying Dash was sitting at critical support, and if it wants to move up, it better move up soon. And then they started selling it off today. It broke the trend line, but they bounced it back up, and I thought, okay, it wants to move down. Then we had this big green up move here to the $94, $95 mark, and quickly reversed it. So not a good sign, but it's holding this trend so far. Let's see if Dash goes higher here. I'm really wanting to see Dash do that move up to the $94, $95 mark and hold it. When you see it pop up and pop right back down, that's just indicating that it's not ready. Let's look at the daily chart. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here for you guys. But Dash on the dailies, there's the trend line I was showing you going way back here to the $38, $39 mark, and it's just kind of been moving up this trend. The broader chart is forming a bit of a cup and handle, as they call it, and it's pulling back in. Volume's getting real quiet on the handle is what you want to see typically, so which is why I'm keeping an eye on it here. I think the setup is there for Dash to go higher. Markets will do what they want to do, but the setup's there, so Dash is one to keep an eye on. Again, the area I'm looking at is if it could break out. I mean, best case is you want to see a break above this 109, and it's going to move up pretty quickly after that. But in the near term, if you're watching the tighter action here, this $95 mark's gotta be overtaken here for Dash to have another leg up. I think that's going to do it for tonight, guys. I just wanted to make a quick video. Let's go back to Litecoin. Litecoin's moving pretty fast here. Let's see what it's doing before we call it a night. Big hammer down. But look at that. It's not a ton of volume. Most of the volume's been on the upside. So longer term, we'll see where it goes. It looks like it wanted to hit this this moving average here, this 30-day moving average, came pretty close to it, sitting around $20 the moving average, and it came down to $21 earlier this evening. So keep an eye on Litecoin. We'll see what it does overnight. It may pull back a little bit more. In the meantime, I'll keep you guys posted. Feel free to comment if you guys want to see something specific, a particular coin or anything I'm looking at. Go ahead and leave your comments below. And again, thank you guys for watching and for subscribing. Until next time, take care.